The first thing you need to know about living in the mountains is there are no rules. That's the trade-off, right? You give up same-day delivery, 5 bars of seltzer VYC, and a decent burrito joint for the freedom to walk around your land butt naked if you want, screaming into the pine trees like a caveman with a podcast. That was the pitch I gave myself when I left the tech world behind, sold my startup shares, kissed city life goodbye, and bought 50 acres of Colorado wilderness at the edge of nowhere. No neighbors, no boardrooms, just me, my ideas, and a house I was building from the ground up. Except, apparently, there was one rule. One rule I hadn't read in any brochure or title deed. Her name was Virginia Mallory, and she ran the Echo Ridge Mountain HOA like it was her own personal fiefdom. She was in her 60s, wore pastel fleece like it was armor, and carried a clipboard with the kind of zeal you'd expect from someone auditing a prison kitchen. Our first meeting was almost comical. I was on a video call, mid-rant about AI investors, when I spotted a beige Subaru crawling up my unfinished gravel driveway, like it had beef with the incline. My house was still half a frame, but the human, the VYEW 360 degrees of untamed alpine beauty. That was the plan. But with beauty came exposure. I saw her coming from half a mile away, clipboard in hand, lips pressed into a disapprove VYing line. Virginia stepped out like she was VYing a warrant. "You must be Mr. Reed," she said, squinting through her glasses like I was a smudge she couldn't wipe off. "That's me," I replied, already regretting not just pretending I wasn't home. She pointed to a trash bin, black, industrial, the kind my builders were using. "That," she said, "is not an HOA-compliant container. Article 8, subsection C, paragraph 2. Waste containers must be earth tone, pine green or canyon brown. Black is for cities, Mr. Reed, not for Echo Ridge." I laughed. "It's a trash can. It's a violation," she snapped, already snapping a photo. "You have 48 hours. That's how it started. The Great Trash Can War. From there it only escalated. She fined me for my custom mailbox, apparently 2 modern sent letters about my temporary lighting disrupting the nocturnal ambience, and even claimed that the tire marks from my cement truck were a threat to soil stability. And here's the kicker: she had control. Real control. The access road that connected my land to the main highway, technically HOA maintained. She didn't own it, but she controlled it. She decided who could use it, when, and under what conditions. I had 50 acres of freedom, with one leash. And that leash was Virginia. It all came to a head 1 week before the first big winter storm. The local news was calling it the White Widow, 3 feet of snow, high winds, the kind of storm that earns its own folklore. My geothermal system was weeks from being functional, so I ordered an emergency propane delivery. Big tank, 1,000 gallons, enough to keep the whole system from freezing and save my investment. I called Rocky Range Fuels, begged and bartered my way onto the schedule. One last truck heading into the mountains before the storm hit. Frank, the driver, said he'd be at the base of Echo Ridge at 10 a.m. sharp. That morning, I was parked down by the road at 9:45, coffee in hand, heart pounding. I spotted the fuel truck a mile out, big white beast rumbling toward salvation. And then, it happened. Virginia's beige Subaru launched out from a side trail and blocked the entrance to the access road like it was Normandy Beach. She stepped out like a one-woman army, holding her clipboard like a shield. "This vehicle exceeds the new weight limit for Echo Ridge roads," she declared, almost gleefully. "What new limit?" I asked, already seeing red. "Updated bylaws passed in emergency session. 10 tons max. This truck's over. I have documentation." Frank leaned out of his cab. "Ma'am, I've been delivering up this road for 20 years. "Not anymore," she said. Frank looked at me, exasperated. "I've got 3 more stops. You've got 5 minutes, or I'm out." I looked at the truck, the sky, the empty tank waiting by my half-finished house, and something inside me snapped. Not like rage snap. More like saw solution snap saw. I stopped thinking like a homeowner and started thinking like the engineer I used to be. I looked up and remembered something sitting under a tarp in my garage. The Skyhook 6000. A ridiculous drone I bought at auction, originally built for agricultural supply drops. Thing was the size of a compact car and could lift nearly 500 pounds. I'd never had a real reason to fly it before. That morning, I did. I called Dave, me contractor, part mountain man, part philosopher, and told him to bring every empty barrel he could find. In 20 minutes, he rolled up with 6 steel drums and a grin. "You finally broke, huh?" he asked, watching me unveil the drone like a doomsday weapon. "Let's call it adapting." We rigged a harness, tested the weight, ran checks. Meanwhile, Frank filled the first barrel on the roadside while Virginia paced back and forth, too stunned to intervene. That drone roared to life like a mechanical banshee. We lifted the first barrel 100 feet up, sailed it over the tree line, over her Subaru, oversaw her saw, and gently set it down in my yard. She didn't move, didn't speak, just stared at the sky like she was witnessing the second come-engine barrel form. By the time we lifted the third load, she had her phone out, screaming at someone, probably the sheriff. And sure enough, 10 minutes later, a cruiser pulled up. Young deputy, clean mustache. The look of a man who'd seen one too many neighborhood disputes. "What exactly is happening here?" he asked. Virginia launched into a breathless tirade. "This man is conducting illegal aerial fuel drops. Explosives. Violating every bylaw in the book." I waited until my drone landed, then calmly stepped forward. "Deputy, this is a registered FAA-compliant UAV operating entirely over my property. I'm not dropping anything. I'm performing a controlled transfer of fuel with a licensed driver to avoid a blockade by someone who, let's be honest, has turned bylaws into a religion." The deputy nodded slowly. "Ma'am," he said, turning to Virginia, "your vehicle is illegally obstructing a shared access road. I'm going to have to ask you to move it." She looked like she wanted to explode into confetti, but she complied. Moved the Subaru 10 yards back and sulked. We finished the delivery 6 barrels, no spills, no crashes. And let me tell you, when that snowstorm rolled in that night, I was warm. Pipes intact. Power secure. Dave and I sipped whiskey by the fire, watching snow bury the world, and laughed like kids who got away with something. A week later, a fruit basket showed up at my door. No note, just a tag that said "from the HOA." Inside, a cream-colored card with passive-aggressive grace. "We hope for continued cooperation and a harmonious season." No mention of the drone. No apology. Just surrender gift wrapped in cellophane. I didn't hear from Virginia again after that. Not directly, but I knew she was watching. Her Subaru started making slow loops past my driveway every few days like a cat circling a dog it can't quite intimidate anymore. And I was fine with that, because she knew now I had Sky support. So what would you have done? Would you have given in? Played nice with the clipboard queen? Or would you have taken to the skies with 55 gallons of legal defiance? Drop a comment below and let me know. HOA war stories, drone ad VYC, or just your thoughts on how far is too far when protecting your own home from petty power trips. Because up here in the mountains, there may not be rules, but there's definitely saw revenge saw.